Hello everyone, this is Crystal Putoff, and I want to share with you some of my thoughts on Pisanki. Um, I love writing it, I've talked about it, it's very prayerful for me, it's very meditative, and it's very important in my life. And you make these beautiful Pisanki, and then this happens. I don't remember how this happened, actually, but it happened. It's a little cracked. Also, something else that happens, so that one was completely done, and I don't, like I said, I don't remember what happened. Sometimes you're in the midst of doing one, and this happens. This one, I know what happened. It slipped out of my hands as I was trying to lighten up some areas over the sink, and it hit the sink, and that's what happened. So sometimes eggs get cracked, and sometimes, we're a little cracked, we're a little broken. But that doesn't mean we aren't still beautiful. And it doesn't mean that we aren't still useful or we don't have a need. I mean, it's still, even though you're cracked, there's still a beauty to you. And what happens, this is what I believe, happens when we get cracked. We need to look at what caused the crack and see if we can fix that and ask for God's help. And we can be made into a beautiful new creation, more loving and towards others, towards ourselves, in a better relationship with the Lord. So these two eggs, even though they're cracked, they're still beautiful and they still have a purpose. So let me show you how these two will be transformed. Okay, we have one step we need to do before I start making this into jewelry. This pisanka has already been varnished, and so I don't need to do anything to it to get it ready. But this one, I had dyed the egg black, put all the wax on it, and then I dyed it yellow, and that was when it broke. So I do need to take the wax off this, but if I take the wax off now, I just want some more color on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use alcohol ink, and I picked out 3 colors here. I have limeade, I have patina, and then I have gold. So I am going to, I need to shake up the gold. Oops. There we go. Here, I thought I heard the ball shaking. Okay, well, I'm going to do that color last. I'll have to shake it anyway. So, if you've never worked with alcohol ink, highly recommend you wear gloves. You will get it all over your hands. It does come off eventually, but I just find it easier to wear the gloves to begin with. So I'm going to start with the lighter color, which is this limeade. I'm going to put, so this is like a dauber thing, and then I have these little felt pads that stick on there. You can use like a makeup pad or anything like that. Okay. Had a little trouble getting that to work. So I'm going to put a few dots on there. And now I just start daubing it on the egg, and you can kind of see the green color coming out. I'm not worried about covering the whole egg. I don't care if some of that yellow shows through. I can't wait to start doing this pattern again because it was so, I loved the pattern. There are some things as I was putting the wax on, I thought, well, I'd have done that differently. So now I have a chance to do that differently. So I'm going to go all the way around with this limeade color, putting it on the egg. I'm being a little gentle down here where it's broken, and I probably won't use some of this down here where it's broken because I'm not going to be able to get alcohol ink. Well, maybe if I do that. Anyway, well, we'll see. See what happens. So we got the limeade all over it. Now, since this patina is kind of a similar color, I'm just going to use my same dauber and do the same thing with the patina. Put some on here. You can add a few drops of just regular alcohol to make it, kind of makes it a little more runny. So now I'm going to go over it with this color. And we'll see how all this works out. Hopefully it'll work well for the jewelry. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's okay too. I'm sure it will find a use somewhere. So again, I'm just kind of putting it all over. Okay, that looks good. All right, now I'm going to use the gold. I am going to use a different dauber for that. I have one that I've been using for gold, so I like to do mixed media paintings too, and kind of like to use some of the alcohol ink in that. Okay, so now the gold, I'm going to go over it a little bit. Whoa, that was a little too much gold there. Well, okay, we might have to do something. We might have to go over it again with the other colors. That I guess it was a little heavy-handed with the gold, and it's not sticking to my little dauber, so I'll just use my fingers. I meant to have just like a few little gold highlights, not a whole gold swoosh. But well, maybe it's turning out okay. Kind of smush around some of that. All right. So I'll play around with this a little bit more until I feel like I have, you know, some interesting colors on it. I want to avoid like this, so I'll probably put some more alcohol ink on that. And they just kind of blend on top. Then I will take the wax off this. I will be using mineral spirits to remove it. When you use the alcohol ink, it's better to use something like that, especially if your lines are white, because it could smear. And since I've left some of the yellow on there, I think I'll just use the mineral spirits. I just kind of roll it around in it and until the wax comes off, and then let it dry for a little bit, and then I'll be ready to start making the jewelry with this one and this one. All right, so this, I have removed the wax. It doesn't look a lot different because the wax was black, and I've let that dry for a couple hours. And here's my other broken, but still loved, still useful. So what I have done is I have gotten a number of these different items. Here's a turtle. I have some bookmarks. I have crosses. I have a couple different crosses. I have a variety of different shapes that I have collected, and this is how I make them into mosaics. So I'm gonna make this as a pair of earrings. I'm gonna start with this one, and the first thing I do is I use this stuff, the labels over it, but it's called diamond glaze. I'm just gonna put a little bit of it inside the form here. And now I'll start with the broken part, the chunk here. I take it and I break it into smaller pieces, and then I try to fit it in where it might go, and then I'll press it down. And I will use a toothpick to kind of move it into place. I do get little pieces that kind of fly everywhere when I do this. And I'm not trying to completely cover all of it. I'll still have some of the silver in the background. I'll put that there. And then let's see. And it is amazing how you don't really need all that much of the eggshell. I don't know if you saw it, but that piece kind of flipped off. And while I was waiting for this to, the one with the alcohol ink to dry, I mixed up some black dye and managed to get it all over me. So pardon my very messy fingers. So you kind of move it, I kind of move it around. Sometimes I break it with my fingernail to get a smaller piece. I don't really try to get it to look, on something like these crosses, I don't really try to get it to be like a big piece that is like the design but cracked, because I find that difficult on these tiny pieces. So see if I can get one, maybe that right there, and maybe one more little one. Right there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. The next step will be to let this dry for a couple hours. And I'll make a number of these, and the last step that I do is I resin these, and then that gives it protection for the eggshell, and it keeps everything in place, and it gives it a nice finished look. So I'll repeat that with this one. And I have a whole bunch of egg left to do that with, and I'll break off pieces of this as needed. Now for this turtle one. This one, I'm going to use the goose egg. Now, this is the first time I've done goose egg shells with these types of jewelry. It should be fine, but the goose egg shell is a little thicker. So since this is kind of a big open space, I'm going to try to get like a whole thing of something, if I can break it off from here. So we'll see what happens. Kind of pains me, and I don't think I want a bee on there. I don't really want a butterfly either. What I really wanted was one of those, but okay, let's see how this looks. So I'm going to peel off this back layer that is on here. It's just part of the shell. Mainly I'm peeling it off because it's kind of sticking out. This will make a mess. It will go everywhere when you do this. Okay, so here's a bigger piece that I'm putting on there, kind of like that. And now I'm going to press it down. I don't know if you could hear it break. Okay. Oh, that's good. I have part of that on there. And the reason I'm pressing it down is because I want it to kind of be flat on there. I don't really want it to be dome-shaped. Oh, my goodness, I just broke my toothpick. I got another one here. All right, so now these I'll fit in other places. I thought the green and yellow would look good on the turtle. That's why I did that. Sometimes you have to put a little more of the glue down. Let's see, did that go with that? No, I don't think I want that there. I'll move that off. Anyway, you can see it's kind of it's not a quick process to do this, to fit these pieces in here. There's a lot of moving them around, and like I said, little bits kind of flying everywhere. And this little thing just doesn't want to go away. All right. Oh, that went flying. Let's see. Anyway, I will keep playing with this and adding more bits to it, and then I'll be back and show the resin process. Okay, so like 20 minutes later, I have a pair of earrings, the turtle, and I did this bookmark too. And the bookmark, I used that bee. Can you kind of see it? Yeah, you can kind of see it. Anyway, so the next step will be to resin them, but I wanted to show you, this is what's involved in making this. It's kind of fun. You know, you're making the puzzle pieces and putting them together at the same time. So anyway, so next step will be the resining, and then we'll have some beautiful jewelry once the resin dries. All right, so we are on our step to put the resin on these. So I have these made up. These were the ones I made up, and I have a few others that my grandkids made while they were here. I'll also be resining theirs. This is what one of them made. I thought that one turned out really cute. Anyway, they had fun making them. So I'm going to resin those. I am going to use a product called resin. And the first thing I'm going to do is put on gloves. Because it's kind of a sticky process, and I really don't want it all over my fingers, because it's hard to get off for the biggest reason. Okay, got our gloves on. So I am using this product called resin, and it is a 2-part epoxy. And I have a little like condiment cup here. One thing I am going to do is, these pieces have the loop right there, so it's kind of raised up. So when I go to put the resin on these, I am going to put them on a popsicle stick, so they're laying flatter. These don't have that issue, so they'll just lay like that on there. Okay, so I've got everything set. I use about a whole bunch of these cheap syringes a while ago. A couple years ago. I'm down to about my last 10, so I guess I'll have to buy some more pretty soon. But I use this to measure out the resin. The resin needs to be the same of each part. Now, I usually start with the one with the white top. I don't know why, I just usually do. It's the thicker of the two. And for, I have 2, 4, 6, 11 pieces here. So I'm probably going to fill this up to the 6, oops, pay attention here, 6 to 8. Now I don't remember why I start with this one. It's thicker, so you don't always know how much you're getting in there until it has a chance to settle. The one that's labeled hardener is it's a little runnier, so it's easier to control. So I'm going to go up to the 8. I usually have a little left over, and that's okay. I buy the small bottles. This company sells it in up to the gallon jug. But for what I use it for, I don't use that much. And once you open it, you really need to use it within 6 months. Otherwise, it starts to kind of yellow. So I buy the little bottles just because that's what lasts. Okay, now it's up to the 8. So, okay, it's okay. Or it's up to the 9. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm putting this into the cup. Sorry for that noise. That was the syringe, not me. Okay, and here's a piece of paper. Some scrap paper. Set that on it. This is my painting desk. I did not want to do the resin part over my Pisanki desk. So now I will fill this until it reaches the 9 with the bottle labeled hardener. Whatever you do, don't confuse the lids. Because you won't be able to get the lid off. I do these one at a time, and I make sure that I keep the right lid with the right product, or you will have a heck of a time getting that lid off if you put it with if you mix up the hardener and the resin lids. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze this one in there again. Again, that is the syringe, not Chris. Okay, now the next thing you do is you start stirring it. And when you start to stir it, it'll be kind of a milky white color. And then you just keep stirring it until it starts to be not so milky. It takes a couple of minutes. I learned the resin process from a video I watched of Jordan Bird, and it's BYRD, and it was a video they did at an event called Pisanki at the Gardens. They don't do Pisanki at the Gardens anymore, but at that event, Jordan demonstrated using resin, and she was using it to fill quail eggs. So she was taking like her big syringe and then putting a needle on it to fill the quail eggs. You might find that video on Lori Popow's channel, and that is LORRIEPOPOW. She's got a lot of great videos too, so check out her channel if you get a chance. Now this is starting to look a little clear, and I can kind of see it when I pick it up, and it's running. So, all right, now the next step, the really messy step. I'm going to put a piece of paper on my desk, and then I'm going to put one finger over the hole at the bottom, and then I'm going to pour resin into this. All right. I don't want to fill it all the way to the top. And then I'll turn it upside down, and it's going to start oozing out the top. I'll grab a tissue and kind of wipe it off, and this is why I'm wearing gloves, because otherwise it's getting all over your hands. All right, so now I'm going to feel like a doctor here, getting ready to go into surgery. There we go. Okay. All right. Now I go and I put it on top of these, and it kind of has a little bit of a self-leveling effect to it. I do want to make sure I get it all over it, and I will go, after I put this on these, I will go back over it with a toothpick if I have to move it around. But usually I found it pretty much will fill it up. I do this on top of it's like a vinyl tablecloth, because if I overfill it, it'll peel off this vinyl tablecloth, and then I'll just kind of use an X-Acto blade to get the resin will come off of the jewelry piece, and then this tablecloth, if I don't get it off the tablecloth, I don't really care, because as you can see, this is like my messiness here. Okay, I am going to go ahead and do these other ones while I have the syringe here that my grandkids made. Because they made them, and I told them you can't take them home with you because they have to be resined first. And they've been home for a week. I'm just now getting to the resin part. This one and the other one like it, these are really deep, so I'm putting a lot of resin in these so that it's all the way up to the top. The resin will expand a little bit. The other thing, and I know you can't tell because you're just watching on video, but this has a slight odor, but I don't think it's bad. I smell it, but it's just, to me, it's not bad. I'm not super sensitive to smells. Okay, so and I had a lot left over, but that happens. I have another project I might use that on if I get done soon enough. Now, with resin, it will bubble. So I come back every half hour and I go over them with a flame, and you're not going to see it on the video, but you'll see little bubbles rise to the top. So you got to be careful. You don't want to catch anything else on fire, like, my little wooden stick here or my hair. Keep that out of the way. And so what I will do is set my timer, and I'll come in every 5 minutes and go over them again with this flame. And then this stuff, it kind of starts to set up in about 45 minutes. So it has a little bit of working time, but it takes overnight to dry. So it won't be dry until tomorrow morning, because I'm doing this in the afternoon. And then I'll probably wait a day before the ones for the grandkids. I mail them anyway. So that's the process. When I come back, I'll show you the final completed pieces of taking what is broken and making it beautiful. All right, so we have gone from sad, broken Pasanki to resurrected Pasanki. Look at this. They turned out so cute. So from the goose egg, I did this turtle pendant and these two bookmarks. And this one, you can kind of see the bee. That one turned out pretty cool. This was a butterfly, but when I went to put it on there, it kind of fell apart. So it looks more abstract. I like all those. And then I made these two sets of earrings from the purple and yellow one. I like them both. So my message for you this Easter, it doesn't matter if you're broken. Jesus loves you. He wants you to be with him. He wants you to share in salvation. So come to him with your brokenness. He will turn you into something beautiful. I hope you have a blessed Easter. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more fun Pasanki next week. Thanks.